Welcome to the interview. I'm Dan Hollander, and our guest on today's program is Lawrence County Executive T.R. Williams.
Hi, Dan.
Good to sit down and talk with you again.
Good talking to you.
It has been a while.
It has been a while.
Busy time for county road workers. Some people don't think about that too much, but although winter hasn't been extremely bad yet, there is plenty to do, isn't there?
Yes, there is. Roads are always a challenge for us. Our road superintendent, Donnie Joe Brown, does an excellent job of maintaining our roads. We've got some 1,100 miles of roads in Lawrence County, which is unbelievable. But he puts those roads on rotation, and so he has a road list. We all get the road list, and he has a schedule of when he's going back to repave and resurface those roads. And he's almost eliminated dirt roads in Lawrence County. I've told him, you've messed up my Jeep riding. You've about eliminated any dirt roads in Lawrence County. But Donnie Joe does a great job of that, and it is a challenge. When it gets cold and it's raining and the ice causes damage to the roads, then you got to go back and do the repairs on the roads, and so there's always challenges there, but he does a great job of that.
And the future looks good road-wise, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. Last year, Tennessee passed the IMPROVE Act. Representative Barry Doss was instrumental in that. He was the chairman of the TDOT committee, and as a result of that IMPROVE Act, Lawrence County will receive an additional $800,000 a year in tax monies to go back toward highways.
How much does that $800,000 do, roughly?
Well, it's about $85,000 per mile to do that. But Donnie Joe has a way of making that stretch out a lot further than that mile. The way he does that, he can take $800,000 and do a lot with the roads in Lawrence County. Roads and paving roads are very expensive, but the way that Donnie Joe does that and makes that work, he can stretch that $800,000 out pretty good.
Fill us in on Leadership Lawrence County, what that is and what it does, what it doesn't do, maybe.
Well, we've had some good success with our leadership in Lawrence County. One of the things that I think is different about our leadership right now is that all of us work very well together. All of the city mayors work very well with me. State Representative Barry Doss is very instrumental in working with us here. But our leadership is not just limited to the people who draw salaries in Lawrence County or who are elected to positions in Lawrence County. We have leaders that are part of our leadership team, like Jim Cone, who's the chairman of our higher education committee that is helping us with our college. But there's a group of individuals that get together on this, like on the college project, that rally around us, to work with us, to help move Lawrence County forward. As I was talking earlier, that when you're working on right things for right reasons and people see that, good people show up, talented people show up that want to be a part of it. And I'm the kind of leader that if I'm digging a ditch and you show up with a shovel, I'm never going to turn you away. So we invite people in to our circle, and it's about inclusion. One of the things that's making it work is that if you want buy-in from people, you got to include them. And so we're including people in the decision making. We're soliciting ideals and opinions from other people to help us make those directions. It is far from being a one-man show.
Right.
I could never, ever, ever accomplish the things that we're seeing accomplished in Lawrence County by myself.
And if people are watching this and say, well, I want to help, call your office?
Yes, if they want to participate in
however
something,
they can do it.
If there's something out there that they see that needs to be done, there are volunteer groups that get together, and we support those groups to try to help those groups get off the ground. But there's a lot of need in Lawrence County, and we've got a lot of great people in Lawrence County. The tragedy that we saw with the young firefighter Jason last week was one of the most heartbreaking things that's happened in this county in a long, long time. I saw our community and our county come together like I've always known that they would. And I wasn't surprised by any one thing that I saw. I was overwhelmed but not surprised. And it was very heartwarming to see what happened. We got some great people in Lawrence County, people who want to be involved and people who want to have inputs in that, and we welcome their inputs.
How about substance abuse? Is that a growing problem?
It is a growing problem. 90% of the issues that are going on right now in our jails are substance abuse. It's either alcohol or drug related. They may be there because they didn't pay their probation, or they may be there because they didn't pay their child support, or they may be there because of domestic assaults. But the root cause of the majority of those, Dan, are alcohol and substance abuse related. As a result of that, we've created the Drug Coalition, which is Jeannie Golden is the director of that. We have since created a faith-based coalition to bring our local churches in and get our local churches involved and get our local pastors involved. We've met with them and had meetings to help educate our pastors. The one thing that I wanted our pastors to understand is I'm not bringing them another assignment. They are extremely busy. And I don't want to bring them another assignment. I want to bring them information. And I want to be a resource to them. And we now have contacts where that if there's someone who needs some help, rehabilitation, we can get them that help.
Good.
Cost was an issue before. We have some faith-based recovery programs where it doesn't cost them anything. So if somebody needs some help, we can get them some help now. And so it's about trying to bring healing back to our county. It's gotten out of hand. We need some laws changed, some regulations changed. So our state legislators need to be involved. Our Congress and Senate at the U.S. level need to be involved, and there's some things, and they were recognizing that. Our president has now recognized that substance abuse is an issue, and so those things are starting to be addressed. They're starting to come on the forefront now.
Good. How's work on the new college progressing? A lot of people want to know that. You hear a little bit here and a little bit there. Just kind of tie it all together for us.
The college, Dan, is without a doubt the most exciting thing I've been a part of since I've been in Lawrence County. Tennessee Tech and Columbia State have signed their agreements on the curriculums that they're going to teach. We are currently pushing to have the college completed by the fall of 2019, which is a very aggressive schedule. As soon as it quits raining, if it ever quits raining, we will start moving dirt around. The surveying has been done, and we are taking private donations now. We've raised over $1.2 million for our college, which is, again, doesn't surprise me about our community. It's absolutely phenomenal. We had a goal of $1.5 million, and we're very close to that goal. I'm not surprised that we're as far along with that as we are. We're doing the engineering for that. The architects are meeting with us on a regular basis to show us the design. Columbia State and Tennessee Tech have been the ones that have been involved to tell us what they need. Again, it goes back to the involvement and the leadership. In building the college, we involve the people who are going to use the college to tell us what the college needs to look like and the classroom spaces need to look like. But the college is still progressing. It's still on target for the 2019 fall.
Well, it's quite an undertaking.
It is a huge undertaking. And when that project was first introduced to me, I felt a bit overwhelmed with that. But when I saw the resources that came forward that wanted to participate, the local business owners who wanted to participate in it, our thought process around the college is that we want to offer courses that are going to benefit our local companies and our local businesses so that our children can get educated to stay in Lawrence County. I don't want to educate our kids to leave us. I want to educate our kids so that they can stay in Lawrence County, they can be productive citizens in Lawrence County, and have a good quality of life here. And so for us to do that, we've got to make sure we're offering the right courses for them, and we've got to make sure that we're providing the jobs for them once they get out. We're also looking, as soon as we get this first building done, Dan, to build a second building, which is the TCAP programs, for all of the certificate programs like the welding and the maintenance programs and electrical and the plumbing. All of those programs are just as important for us. We talked about getting a college education, but certificate programs are just as important. And we put so much emphasis on college that we created a gap. And now we have a gap for skilled workers. So we're trying to balance that back out today.
Yeah.
You can get a certificate program and go to work faster than you can with a degree and make as much money as you can with a degree. Those programs are paying very well today. And so we don't want any child, any person left out. The Tennessee Promise has been one of the greatest things that has ever happened in the state of Tennessee to provide a 2-year education for anybody that wants to go to college or TCAT. And that's just been phenomenal. And I think it's a game changer for us, and I really believe that that's what's making Tennessee attractive to industries that want to come. Industries that come in, they all want to know about your workforce. And now with the college that we have, the TCAP programs that we have, we can show those industries that we can provide to them a skilled workforce, and that raises their interest here in Lawrence County.
Good. Fill us in on the Keystone Senior Facility, exactly what that is and what it does.
I finally qualify for something, Dan.
I understand.
You have to be 55 years old to be able to own property there. They have it's not a assisted living facility. They're building homes there. They currently have a few homes that they've already put up, 2 and 3 bedroom homes. They've got great programs with that. You have access, and they're going to build an indoor swimming pool. They have a golf course that you're going to do activities. They're going to build a building, and we did groundbreaking for that. And they're going to put a restaurant in there that is going to be like a 5-star restaurant, which is very exciting. I was invited down. William Keelan, who's the owner, invited me down for one of the meals, and it was absolutely phenomenal. So I'm excited about that project and seeing that come to fruition.
Yeah.
Having something like that in Lawrence County, there's there's a certain number of people in Lawrence County that believe that the leadership wants Lawrence County to be a retirement home. Well, that's not true. I wouldn't be sitting here if I was interested in it being a retirement home. I'd be retired. While we're not interested in it just being a retirement home, I do want it to be a great place for people to retire. And so the Keystone facility is going to make that a very good place for people to come and to retire and be able to enjoy a good quality of life there.
That's great. Was 2017 a good year for Lawrence County?
Yes, it was. Very good year. We're growing. New people are moving in. We're seeing a lot of growth in the north end of the county with homes and people coming in. There's new subdivisions coming up in the north end of the county. Part of why that's happening is that the property values in Murray County are skyrocketing, and the cost of building a home there is skyrocketing. So people that are working in Spring Hill, working in Columbia, are moving into the north end of Lawrence County and building their homes there, and then they're driving to their jobs. But it's been good. We had over 300 job announcements last year with job growth. We continue to see new jobs coming, and so 2017 was good. We've had some economic growth here. Our finances are getting better, and so we're seeing economic growth. The goal is to have your economics outpace inflation so that you don't have to raise the taxes, and so that's kind of the goal. If you're not growing, you're dying, and so we're pushing very hard to grow the economy here in Lawrence County.
That's not as easy as it sounds.
It is a long, tedious process, Dan, and anybody that says we're going to just do that overnight hasn't been involved in that. Nobody does that overnight. It takes a lot of people, it takes a lot of hard work, it takes a lot of push, it takes a lot of selling that you are the right place to be. Everybody thinks they're wonderful. And so when we tell people how wonderful we are, everybody else has told them that too. So we've got to prove how wonderful we are. And I think we've got folks in our leadership group that have done a good job of doing that. And so we're seeing that growth.
What's the drug recovery court program?
The drug recovery program is something we've just started. We got a grant for that, so it's no cost to the taxpayer here. The grant covers the cost of operating the facility, and it covers the cost of the personnel. Judge Allen is the drug recovery court judge. The DA is on board with us. The sheriff's office is on board with us. I serve on that board. We've just hired a coordinator, drug recovery court coordinator. Tamara Robinson is the new coordinator for that. It's all managed out of South Central Human Resource Association. Paul Rawson, who's a former county executive here, is the director of that facility, and it's managed through his group. There will be a committee that looks at various inmates to determine if they're a candidate for drug recovery. Once they're deemed to be a candidate of that, they will be put into a long-term recovery program rather than going to jail. I believe, Dan, that our answer to our drug problem is bringing recovery to our people. It's not just locking them up. And you can't turn your head to people who are breaking the law. I'm not saying that we do that and not lock them up. But people who are addicted to drugs, we have found that locking them up doesn't fix them. When they get out, they go right back doing the same things they were doing before. So we want to give these people some help and bring some recovery to them. Nashville has DC4, and they have seen some huge success with their drug recovery court. I'm going tonight to visit a drug recovery court to see how it works. And we're taking a group of our people on our board with us to look at that. We're scheduled to start our drug recovery court up in May, and so I'm very excited about that. If we can put that father back in the home, being a productive citizen, it takes all the stress, a lot of the stress off of that mom. She's not having to raise the children by herself, and it makes our home healthier, man. So I believe that reducing our jail population is a better solution than building bigger jails. Building the bigger jails are more expensive to us, and as I said earlier, that the old adage of you build it, they'll come applies to jails. And I just don't believe that building bigger jails is the solution for us. I believe that bringing recovery to people is the answer to that.
How's Lawrence County doing financially?
We're doing better. There was some financial challenges when we first came in. Of course, we ended up the second year having to do a property tax increase just to get us back on the right path. But we've done a good job of being good stewards of that. And like I said, we're continuing to see retail come into Lawrenceburg, and we're seeing new jobs come into Lawrenceburg. There's still some financial challenges out there, and it's one of the reasons that I have elected to run again. I don't want to kick the can down the road for somebody else and let somebody else come in and fix those financial challenges. But they're not challenges that can't be fixed. It's just going to take a little work for us to do that and to make that happen. But I want to make sure that they happen.
You get involved in all these legal matters that affect Lawrence County, don't you?
I do.
Well, that's a full-time job right there.
Well, there's a Bart Durham on every corner. And they're always looking for us to mess up or to do something. And so you're always going to have legal issues. We have a county lawyer. Charlie Holt is our county lawyer. And those matters are passed off to Charlie to deal with. But yes, I'm involved in legal matters that come through the county and made aware of anything that we might have.
Yeah. We hear a lot about securing new industry, and that's a number one,
Yeah.
close to number one if
Yes.
it's not number one, priority, and it takes a lot of time to do that. Different requirements for each company, I'm sure.
There's not a template that you can do. There's not a fill-in-the-blank program that you can do with that. Ethan Hadley and Ryan Egley, of course, from the Chamber, had that program up for us on economic development. Ryan is the director of economic development now, and he's an extremely aggressive young man, very, very intelligent young man that's working on that. We have been overwhelmed with requests for information already this year. Our spec building is the primary driver behind that. I know there's a lot of questions about why did we build a spec building and it's still empty, and why don't you do something with that? And we really don't need a spec building. And so you hear all of those things. But the majority of the visits that we're seeing in Lawrence County are because we have that spec building. They're coming here because of the spec building. And the reasons that we lose the deals a lot of times is because of the distance from interstate. We're arguing that point. We have 4-lane highways now, east, west, north, and south. And so that argument is becoming less. We're trying to do a better job of selling ourselves. And once people come and see the infrastructure that we have, that's not as much of an issue. You know, you look on a map of where we are from the interstate and you think we're out of the way. We're really not out of the way. You can only drive 65 miles an hour in a truck on the interstate. Well, you can drive 65 on a 4-lane here. So the time of getting in and out of Lawrence County is much easier than getting in and out of Nashville. So that's kind of our selling point. I came out of logistics, and so I present a pretty strong argument when we have people coming telling us that they can't do that because of interstate.
We've heard this story over and over, but it bears repeating, I think. May be surprising to some people, but a stranger, you know, that you meet at a local cafe for whatever reason, who begins asking some questions about your area and possibly surveying for a new factory?
I would encourage people to always speak highly of our community. While this community has its issues, every community has its issues. Our school director, Mr. Johnny McDaniel, has a slogan that he has throughout the school that's called "Find the Good and Praise It." And I think that there's enough good things in Lawrence County that we can focus on and talk about. Number one, our greatest asset are our people, and I put our people up against any other county in the state of Tennessee. I really believe in our people, which is another reason I signed up for this job, because I believe in our people. I love the people of Lawrence County. We've got a great region. It's a good place to live. We've got great schools. Our schools are some of the highest performing in the country. We've got great companies here. We've got great business owners here. It's a safe place to live. There are just a number of reasons why someone should locate in Lawrence County. I just had a local business owner this morning came here from California that loves Lawrence County, and he said today, "You could not run me out of Lawrence County." So those are the things that you want to hear. But Dan, I can't stress the importance of people not bad-mouthing our community, the leadership in our community, because you never know when that person is a CEO sitting in that restaurant who's come here to scope out the county to find out what people are saying about it.
The only thing that's for sure is you'll never know.
Yeah, you will never know. You'll never know who they are. The Babe Ruth World Series that we had, one of the reasons they wanted to come back here was because of the way the people in Lawrence County treated them when they came here. They were overwhelmed by the welcoming of Lawrence County. And they wanted to come back. They wanted to have that experience again. You never know when one of those kids playing on a Babe Ruth baseball team 10 years from now may be a CEO of some company, and he remembered Lawrence County and how Lawrence County treated him, that they may want to come back. You never know when one of the fathers of one of those kids playing in one of those things may be here and may be looking for a place to come. And how we treat them, what we say about our own community would dictate that. So I would just encourage people to do as Mr. McDaniel from the school said, find the good and praise it. Talk about that. Do we have issues? Certainly we do. But every community has issues. But we always we always look at other counties and talk about how great other counties are. Other counties talk about how great we are. And so I'm very happy with where we are in Lawrence County and the things that we're doing right now in Lawrence County. We're seeing some progress in Lawrence County. There's a lot of excitement in Lawrence County right now, and so I want to keep that going for us.
That kind of leads us into this question. What do you see, and it's impossible to do, but roughly, what do you see in the next 4 years for Lawrence County?
I think because of the college, Dan, and the location that we put the college this is one of the reasons we did that. Our bypass has some great land that's undeveloped. The infrastructure's there for retail growth. And I think you're going to see over the next 5 to 10 years, okay? Our bypass is going to develop, and it would have developed on its own over a course of maybe 20 years. But putting the college there is an attempt to accelerate that growth. We think that 5 to 7 years, we're going to see that growth that we would have seen in 20 years with the college. Tennessee Tech has estimated that in 5 years we'll have 2,500 students at this college. You put 2,500 students on a bypass, you're going to see retail growth down on that bypass. I think that in the next 5 years you're going to see hotels there. You're going to see restaurants there. You're going to see other retail things down on that bypass. But I think you're going to see a lot of retail.
If people want to get involved in this to help you, how can they do that?
They can just call the office. They can come to, of course, our committee meetings that we have with the commission, and are all open meetings, and they're invited to those. We publish those in the paper. We put those on our websites. And people that if there's something that they want to come and listen to what we're doing, be a part of that, they're welcome to do that. But if there's a committee they want to serve on, or there's some need that they see, they can call the office and tell us.
Great. Appreciate the interview, and I know you got things going in the right direction.
Thank you, Dan. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you. That's the interview for today. We appreciate you watching. Thank you.